We're joined. We can see Senator Amy na nakalag in pero I don't think she's around. No? Anyway, she can participate anytime naman, being one of the authors of the pending measures. We also have with us newly invited resource persons. Ito yung mga who can contribute, being former Philippine Coast Guard commandants. No? The Edmond and another one, the other bugu-bugu. Yeah. Parang reflect yung ano mo kasi. Yung, yeah. Anyway, good morning, gentlemen. There's a request from DBM. Ano? Naunahin sila sa presentation because they have a hearing at 11 o'clock. So DBM, are you around? Are you ready to present your position paper?
Good morning.
It's very important. Yes, you are Director Grace de los Santos.
Apo. Good morning po,
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honors. Actually, we don't have any presentation. We just want to, if you may allow, I just want to read our position with regards to the proposed Senate Bill number 2322.
Yes, kindly give us justification, ano, whatever your position is. Bigyan nyo lang kami ng more or less, expound more on the justification, whether to support or not to support yung the whys, ano, the whys and the hows. Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, Your Honor. First of all, I just want to emphasize that this is just an advance. This is not yet the official position of the DBM. We will still submit this to our OIC together with the position of other bureaus like the OPCCB and SPIB, and consolidate the position paper of the official position paper of the DBM. I was informed that last time the OPCCB was the one who represented the DBM, and now the BMBA as the one in charge of the operations of the budget operations funding for PCG. We are requested also to give our initial position for the Senate bill. Okay, first of all, we recognize the importance of the proposed bills in order to enhance the administration and organization of the PCG through the required structure and management that are vital in the execution of its mandates on maritime safety, maritime security, and marine environmental protection, as well as to clearly define the powers of the key officers, categorize its personnel appropriately, classify their ranks, define their qualifications and tenure, provide a framework for their disciplinary system through an internal affairs service, provision of legal assistance, and prescription of retirement benefits, among others. Now, we would like to post our comment on Section 4, the Commandant. The proposal provides that the PCG should be headed by a Commandant with a rank of Admiral, which shall be equivalent to the rank and pay of the Chief of Staff, AFP, and the Police Director General, PNP. It may be noted that the PCG was only a major unit under the Philippine Navy when it was created under RA number 5173, raising the base pay of the PCG Admiral to at least equal to that received by the highest ranking officer of the AFP or the Chief of Staff, who is a general and responsible, among others, for the development and execution of national defense programs and missions of the PA, PAF, and PN, and the same rate of base pay for the rank of Director General of the PNP would be against the compensation equity principle. Further, as provided under Section 2 of the proposed Senate bill, that in times of war, as declared by Congress, the PCG or parts thereof shall be attached to the Department of National Defense. Hence, it is only proper that the PCG commandant should not be totally equal to the rank and pay rate of the AFP Chief of Staff to maintain the seniority of the chain of command. However, we defer to the comments and I think that the OPCCB, our Office of Organization, Position Classification, and Compensation Bureau, also have a say or a position regarding this. Okay. On Section 6, organization. The bill proposes for the increase in number of PCG personnel from the current 1 uniform personnel per 1 kilometer coastline to 2 uniform personnel per 1 kilometer coastline. On this issue, may we suggest that if the number of PCG uniform personnel be increased, the nominal value or number be indicated in the proposed bill instead and not based on the number of kilometer coastline as proposed. Moreover, the proposed increase in the number of personnel should be properly studied and justified, considering its budgetary requirements, which may greatly affect and add burden to the limited resources of the government. The estimated annual funding requirement of the PCG in the event that the number of uniformed personnel increases to 75,000 or equivalent to 2 personnel per kilometer coastline with approximately 75 billion will be approximately 75 billion. That is 60 billion for PS and 14 billion for MOOE and another billion for capital outlay. Now, this assumption is based on the FY 2021 budget of the Philippine Navy with a total agency-specific budget of 31.58 billion with 23,771 uniformed personnel. Okay? Now, on Section 35, regarding retirement benefits, we interpose no objection on the proposal to adopt provisions of Presidential Decree number 1638 or the establishing a new system of retirement and separation for military personnel of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and for other purposes. This is to resolve the issue on retirement benefits and pension distortion of the retired PCG personnel, particularly those with the ranks of Chief Petty Officer, Senior Chief Petty Officer, Master Chief Petty Officer, First Master Chief Petty Officer, until such time that a separate law is enacted for the purpose. Currently, we have informed the PCG that the retirement benefits and monthly retirement pay of the PCG uniform personnel who retired after the effectivity of RA number 9993 and who attained the ranks of CPO, SCPO, MCPO, and FMCPO should be computed based on Section 18 of RA number 9993. This is equivalent to 50% of base pay and longevity pay of the next higher grade last held in case of 20 years of active service, increasing by 2.5 for every year of service rendered beyond 20 years to a maximum of 90% for 36 years of active service and over. Now, this is already what we are doing in computing the retirement benefits of the PCG officers. Further, these benefits are already indexed to the base pay of those in the active service. Okay, now on Section 39, old age pension eligibility. Old age pension are given to war veterans and post-war veterans. Hence, the PCG personnel should qualify as veteran as provided under Section 2A of RA number 6948 in order to be eligible to such benefits. The comments and recommendation from PBAW should be considered on this matter. On Section 46, Emergency Medical Assistance. With the enactment of RA number 11372, or an act establishing and constructing a hospital for the Philippine Coast Guard, its personnel, employees, their dependents, and retired uniformed personnel to be known as the Philippine Coast Guard General Hospital, and appropriating funds thereof. This was already enacted and became a law, and so we deem that this provision is no longer necessary to be included in the proposed amendments to the PCG law. On Section 49, Special Account, and Section 50, Collection of Revenues, it is proposed that the PCG shall maintain a special account under the general fund, in which receivables from local or foreign entities shall be credited, including proceeds or excess of grants, fees, or charges, dues, fines, and rentals generated in the regular conduct of service, and that the PCG may use the same for capability enhancement. Okay, the creation or establishment of the said special account in the general fund, to which the agency income collections shall directly accrue and to be retained by the PCG to support its capability enhancement, is not in accordance with the one fund policy in government budgeting, and not consistent with Section 4, General Provisions of Republic Act Number 11465, or the Fiscal Year 2020 General Appropriations Act, Section 44, Chapter 5, Book 6 of EO Number 292, or the Administrative Code of 1987, and Section 55 of Presidential Decree Number 1445. These laws provide that all fees, charges, assessments, and other receipts or revenues collected by departments, bureaus, or offices, and instrumentalities of the national government, including constitutional offices enjoying fiscal autonomy, in the exercise of their mandated function, shall be deposited with the National Treasury as income of the general fund. The said income shall form part of the revenue and financing sources of the national government for its expenditures, subject to the budget evaluation and review process, and in turn shall be made as basis of the General Appropriations Bill. That is all we have to say, Your Honors. So in view of the foregoing, we recommend a further study of the proposed legislative measures subject to the comments presented and the inputs of other appropriate agencies with technical, functional, and legal jurisdiction on the matter. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, ma'am. Kindly stay for a while because we want to hear the reaction of the Philippine Coast Guard, violent or otherwise. So before you leave, kindly listen to the comments. Yes, Philippine Coast Guard, from the retired sector and also the active sector, you have the floor now.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Did you follow what
Yes,
DBM Director Grace?
Definitely, sir.
Okay, sige.
I would like to give the floor, sir, to our retired officers from the Philippine Coast Guard.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning, sir. I am a retired Admiral LPG Badama, a former Deputy Commandant for Administration, and at the same time a National Director of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. I want to react, sir, on the first comment on the rank of the Admiral. The Philippine Coast Guard, when it was transferred to the Department of Transportation and Communications then, under Executive Order 475, it has become a bureau. It has jumped from a lower than a bureau to a bureau level, where it is similar to the situation of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Philippine National Police, Bureau of Customs, Bureau of Correction, and Bureau of Immigration and Deportation. These bureaus, if they wear their uniforms, they wear their 4-star rank. And thus, we feel that the same level, regardless of personnel, for as long as the functions of that bureau is being carried out or discharged the rank should stay as is. Number two is the rank of the Coast Guard Admiral is also a complementary rank with their counterparts of other nations. And this requires a mutual understanding of its counterparts, especially in international forums, which they often meet during a meeting internationally, especially on the level of international maritime organizations, enforcing conventions and international laws. And lastly, the Coast Guard has grown from a subordinate of the Navy to now a frontliner of every organization. The Coast Guard is a frontliner in terms of protecting the seaports, the airports. In fact, West Philippine Sea, the good chairman has been there. And Coast Guard is everywhere along the way and in front of a Chinese Coast Guard vessel. We feel that this recognition, an additional burden or the opportunities for the Coast Guard should be likewise be given due course so that whatever is due to a bureau head should likewise be given to the commandant. And lastly, in times of war, if I have read the understood correctly, in times of war, especially during the last desert storm war, the U.S. Coast Guard then was not under the U.S. Navy. It operated as a sea lift or logistics support to the Navy only, and in charge of port security to address threat to port securities in the area. And during wartime, the commander-in-chief, the president is the commander-in-chief, and below them are the cabinet secretaries. In their case, the U.S. Navy and the U.S. Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard commandant was not under chief naval operations of the Navy. They only support the Navy down below on the ground as a logistics support command and under a attached uh, uh, chain of command. They are attached to the desert storm in the operational area, and but they are under a one military justice system. So if there are infractions along the way, there will be no civil service issues there because the U.S. Coast Guard and the U.S. Navy have the same military justice system. So we feel that the Coast Guard should likewise be recognized, especially with the challenges now ahead and today. And Mr. Chair, we are hoping for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral Padama. Ma'am, that's a very sound reaction, from the Philippine Coast Guard. Kasi there's no doubt that they enjoy the same rank. At least the PCG commandant enjoys the same rank as the other uniformed personnel or services. As mentioned, pareho yung level, bureau level, like the Bureau of Jail Management, Bureau of Fire, Bureau of Immigration, Bureau of Corrections. When they wear their uniforms, they all wear or they all don 4 stars on their shoulders, So yung pay is another matter, but to be consistent with the situation of the other bureaus, similarly situated. So how do you react to that comment or reaction, ma'am? Now, by the way, how's the
That is
pay?
duly noted, yes,
Kumusta
yes,
yung
sir.
pay ng Kumusta yung pay ng Director of the Bureau of Corrections, Director of Bureau of Fire, the other bureaus, yung other uniform personnel? I assume they are also covered by Joint Resolution number 1, di ba? Kasi MUP eh. At least, as far as I know, yung PNP, BJMP, BFP. No? I'm not sure about Bureau of Immigration and Bureau of Corrections. But, you know, we heard the reaction or the comment of Admiral Padama, former Deputy for Administration, no, of the Philippine Coast Guard. Your reaction, ma'am?
The position of the gentleman is duly noted. As with regards to your question of the base pay of the other officers or officials under the MUP uniform personnel, sad to say, sir, na it is not our within our functional coverage. The other bureau is handling those uniform personnel budget for those uniform personnel. What our bureau is handling on is only the PCG, since it is under the DOTR or the Department of Transportation. But then the stand of the gentleman is duly noted, sir. Thank you.
From the budgetary requirement aspect, ano, tinatanong ko lang kung same level ba yung PCG commandant as as his counterparts in the other bureaus. Would DBM know that?
Yung DND chief tsaka PNP.
Yes, Your Honor. Based on
For example, how much is the
yes,
chief
yes,
PNP
Your Honor.
receiving?
In accordance with Joint Resolution Number 1, they have similar, sir.
The
Similar
PCG
base
commandant
pay.
receives the same pay as the Director General of the Philippine National Police and the Chief of Staff of the AFP, as well as yung Director of the Bureau of Fire and Jail and Penology. Pareho sila. Can you answer, Coast Guard, if you know?
Yes, sir. We are actually one rank lower, sir.
So the PCG commandant,
His salary is
who is a
40
four-star general, receives a pay one rank lower
Yes, sir.
than the Chief of Staff and the Chief PNP.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, can you take note of that? Kasi, you know,
Yes, sir.
just for
Actually, my
consistency.
staff,
Yes, please proceed.
sorry, sir. Sorry for interrupting, sir. Actually, my staff is now checking and coordinating with the other bureau, which is Bureau D, who is handling those agencies, sir. So we'll just, but we have taken note of the issue. We will
Kindly.
just, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, kindly take note kasi kung one rank lower in pay, parang hindi yata just, ano, parang hindi fair. Kasi as rightly mentioned by Admiral Padama, pareho lang silang bureau director kung tutuusin. And if they are receiving a pay that is equivalent to one rank lower than the Chief of Staff and the GPNP, parang parang walang parity. Yes, please. Admiral Tan?
Yes, good morning, sir. Based on GR1, sir, all pays of the MUPs are the same. But with the rank of Admiral and Vice Admiral, iba na, sir. Like the Coast Guard Admiral receives the pay equivalent to the 3-star of the PNP and the AFP. And the Vice Admiral receives a pay lower than the 3-star and higher than the 2-star in between.
Down the line. Down the line.
Yung dalawa lang, sir. But
Dalawa lang.
The rest, sir,
The rest,
from Admiral down,
equal.
pa rin na lahat, sir. Yun lang
So,
dalawa, sir.
DBM, kindly take note of that. Yun lang palang dalawa, yung Vice Admiral nila and yung Admiral, yun lang na tumatanggap ng pay equivalent to one rank lower. But the rest, they are at par with their counterparts.
Everything
So
is
mukhang meron talagang meron talagang mali.
Yes, sir. Noted po. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, may I also further comment, sir? Yung reaction ni yung DBM about the pay of the Chief Petty Officer and then the Senior Chief Petty Officer, Master Chief Petty Officer, and the First Master Chief Petty Officer. The DBM would like to retain daw yung section provision ng 1093 na one rank higher daw. But this is not fair, sir, because dapat equivalent sa AAP. Kasi the chief PTA officer, master sergeant ng AAP o PNP, when they retire, they receive a pension of the second lieutenant or ensign. And then, ganun din yung senior chief PTA officer, and then master chief PTA officer, ganun din, they retire, they receive a pension of the ensign or the second lieutenant. But yung first master chief PTA officer, lieutenant junior grade. At the same time, they are promoted to ensign. They are retired in the rank of ensign. But the rest, they get only a pay of the second lieutenant. But that is not fair, sir, because as I said, equivalency sa counterparts, dapat pareho, sir. And then, within the Coast Guard itself, sir, meron kaming two kinds of retirees, dalawang category. Yung nag-retire before 993 and those na retire after 993. Iba yung pension nila sa amin, kaya na-retire after 993. Kaya, yung nag-retire before 2010, sir, they receive the pay, pareho sa PNP. And then kami naman na-retire after 2010, wala, sir, we are lesser because of the pay grade na sinabi, sir. So dapat hindi, dapat fair, sir.
We're also checking the pay, yung scale do sa the other uniform services like Bureau of Corrections and Bureau of Immigration. If you have, kindly share it with us. Ano? Kasi kung lahat sila are enjoying the same pay, tapos namumukod tangi yung Coast Guard na iba, eh talagang yun ang the highest form of injustice.
Tatlo lang naman yung considered as the MUP, sir. Yung AAP, PNP, and the Coast Guard. Yung BGMP, sir, saka yung BFP.
Uniform personnel yan.
Yes, sir,
Kasama yan
but the
sa ano.
pay of a director of the BGMP and BFP is equivalent to 2-star lang, sir. Major na lang.
So, meron talagang disparity.
Oh, sir.
Maybe because of the personal fill-up or personal strength, ano?
Yes, sir.
Because uniquely, yung AFP saka yung PNP, they have more than 220 personnel. Maybe na-consider yon pati doon sa pay scale ng Bureau of Fire and Penology, even if they're wearing 4 stars on their shoulders, pero ang pay nila is only equivalent to that of a 2-star general. I don't know about the Bureau of Corrections and the Bureau of Immigration. Although I don't think they're considered uniform personnel, di ba? They are not, di ba? Ang talagang kasama lang, MUP is M for military and then yung uniform personnel, Coast Guard. That's clear, no? Coast Guard is included. BJMP, BFP. Yun lang. And the PNP, of course. So, ma'am, can you take a look at that? No? Even though yung sa Bureau of Immigration and Bureau of Corrections, or Bureau of Fire and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, ang pay ng kanilang directors nasa 2-star rank lang, equivalent. So, I think this needs a closer study, you know. DBM Director, ma'am. Ma'am Grace.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, the of civilian personnel and base pay schedule of military and uniform personnel in the government. Doon po yun sa Joint Resolution number 4 of Congress and Senate. And naka-attach po doon, I think it is on page 16, indicated po doon ang kung ano yung monthly base pay to be received for DND, BJMP, and Bureau of Fire, PNP, NPPSC, PCG, and NAMRIA. So nandun po, naka-enumerate po under page 16 yung mga ranks and their equivalent monthly base pay. So yun lang naman po ang sinusunod ng DBM as legal basis in determining the base pay of the uniformed personnel.
I agree, ma'am. You're bound by the provisions of Joint Resolution number 1 of the law, including the implementing rules and regulations. But then, they're seeking now to amend yung kanilang yung 9993 para ma-update or ma-upgrade yung kanilang pay scale. And we want to find out, first, kung may wherewithal ba tayo, given the circumstances, to give it to them and take a deeper study yung sa aspect ng equality at saka yung fairness. Yun lang tinitingnan natin dito. Agreed na nasa Joint Resolution number 1 na naka-indicate na doon yung pay scale. Ano? But then, since there's this measure pending before this committee, we want to find out more on the capability or the capacity of government to sustain the adjustments being sought by the Philippine Coast Guard in this regard.
Yes, Your Honor, that is duly noted po. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, sir. with
Any
your
more?
permission,
Sige,
sir.
Admiral.
Thank you, sir. In addition to what I have expressed earlier, may I also react on the troop ceiling mentioned by the gentle lady from DBM. The troop ceiling is justified from one Coast Guard person per 1 kilometer of coastline to 2 because we feel that because of the elevation of the Coast Guard to a bureau, we are not only concentrating on the 4 functions: maritime security, maritime safety, marine pollution, and maritime environmental protection. But we are talking of a food and security issue, Mr. Chair, which I have gathered from your speech one time. That one Coast Guard person, one Coast Guard personnel attending to 1 kilometer coastline is not enough to protect and sustain security, food security, and security itself being now a frontline area. So we seek a consideration of DBM to consider to increase the troop ceiling of the Coast Guard from 1 person per kilometer of coastline to 2 personnel per coastline to have enough manpower to attend to the requirements of the country. Thank you.
Assuming that you are authorized by law to increase the number of personnel, double, ano?
Yes, sir.
How many years can you accomplish that? How many can you recruit in 1 year?
Mr. Chair,
Stick, yung PNP tsaka UFP, they're asking for additional funding for their personal fill up. And yet, every year, we notice na they cannot utilize the budget
Yes.
because they are unable to recruit
Yes,
the personnel. So the same question I'll ask you, how many years, para ma-program natin, in case this will be enacted into law, ma-program natin budget-wise, magkano every year yung idadagdag?
yes, sir. Mr. Chair, the absorptive capacity of our training centers is about 4,000 per year. So if
So
we
2.5
want to,
years.
we want to add,
You'll be adding 30 plus, di ba?
yes, sir. So
So,
more than
for
7 years, Mr. Chair.
mga 7 years, 7-year period. So, hindi rin bigla yung,
Yes, sir.
yung sa PS.
Because we do not want to create problems later on or maybe after
Yes.
20 years. Sabay-sabay din magre-retire din po yun, sir.
Is 4,000 yung sa recruitment realistic?
Yes, sir. Actually, we are doing that right now this year.
Yun yung rate of recruitment nyo ngayon, yung number?
Yes, sir.
Per year, you can actually recruit and enlist, not just
At
recruit.
least 4,000. po, sir.
4,000.
Yes, sir.
So, may empirical data kayo dyan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, DBM, pakitulungan nyo kami i-compute yung ano yung impact on the budget if they are allowed to recruit 4,000 personnel per year, per budget year.
Actually, Your Honor, for 2020, we already authorized the creation of 4,000 personnel, uniform personnel for PCG, as well as in 2021. Per latest report, the 4,000 personnel which were authorized in 2020 is already, correct me if I'm wrong, PCG
Filled up?
PCG.
Is that filled up already, the 4,000?
Yeah, it's already recruited. they are all filled up. And the 2021, 90% are already filled up for 2021. So now in
They're on track.
2022,
How about in 2022, ma'am?
2022 also we recommended another 4,000. So that
4,000.
is
Good for
4,000
4,000.
per year. The requirement is approximately 1.6 billion for personal services, not included the MOOE and capital outlay requirement, which we charge
Yes.
against the MPBF or the Miscellaneous Personal Benefits Fund.
Yeah. Yung MOE per capita, no? Hindi pa kasama yon doon sa computation ng 1.6 billion. That's only for salary and
Yes,
and
correct.
allowances.
Apo.
So they're on track in their recruitment of 4,000 per person per year ng Philippine Coast Guard. So if we anong projected strength nyo in 2022? Because budgeted na yan, kasama sa NEP, no? Kasama na rin sa sa version ng House and Senate. So ano yung projected strength nyo in 2022?
26,430 po, sir. 26,000 strong.
So that's still way below the 1 personnel per kilometer
Yes, sir.
coastline.
Yes, sir.
Tapos inire-request nyo, recommend nyo to increase it to 2 personnel per kilometer. So
Yes, sir. That's about 75,000.
hindi nyo kaya ng 7 years yon. Kung ganun ng ano. Kasi kung 4,000, para maabot yung
40.
75,000 personnel.
Accordingly, sir, our computation is 2035.
Hindi 7 years yung
Yes, sir.
2035.
It's more than 10 years.
Ayun naman pala,
10
DBM.
years. So, hindi rin po bigla, sir, yung
Yeah, hindi rin
request ng
bigla.
budget.
Kasi meron din kayong limitation sa pag-recruit.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, I think that's duly noted by DBM and that will be included in their consideration. Ano. What else? Yung sa 4-star rank, when you are attached, pinag-usapan namin ito, maybe you can help us out ano, because it was not resolved. Yung principle of the unity of command. Kasi once you are attached to the DND, there will be confusion. Who will take orders from whom? Of course, you will take orders from the DOTR secretary. But when you're attached to the DND, necessarily, operational, ano yun, di ba, control under DND because war nga wartime eh. So if there's a chief of staff having a 4-star rank and there's a Philippine Navy flag officer in command who dons a 3-star on his shoulders, 3 stars on his shoulders. So, paano ngayon ma-resolve yun? Pareho kayo nasa dagat ng Philippine Navy. Walang problema sa Philippine Army saka Philippine Air Force. Pero pareho kayo nasa dagat at 4-star yung inyong commandant, 3-star yung POIC. Are you telling me that the flag officer in command of the Philippine Navy will take orders from the Philippine Coast Guard Commandant? About the Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces? Who will take orders from whom? No? Kalimutan na natin yung mga upper class, underclass, ha? Sige,
Mr. Chair, if I may, sir.
go ahead.
Good morning.
You are
Admiral Gavan, sir.
commander of...
Maritime Security and Law Enforcement.
Okay,
Command.
please.
Sir, first of all, the services of the armed forces, meaning the Army, Navy, and the Air Force, does not operate, or they don't operate. They are only force providers. So yes, sir, it is their joint commands who do the operations. So the Navy only provides the ships. The Air
I know
Force
what you're
only provides-
saying, ano, but it cannot be denied that they're the ones directing the operations.
Yes, sir.
Let's not be too technical about who is operating. We know that yung mga field units ang nag-operate. But who will direct the operations? We're talking here of direction,
Yes, sir.
control, supervision. We're not talking of actual operations.
Yes, sir.
Yun ang nire-resolve natin dito.
So we are trying to find ways, actually, sir. we have the unilateral defense plan, which is being developed by the AFP. So the issue on who will direct will be resolved there. But in case of war, Your Honor, actually the Navy and the Coast Guard will be performing not the same things as what has been conceived even before. The Coast Guard will be focused on control of shipping, control of ports. The actual conduct of war, the capabilities of the Coast Guard are not designed for that, Mr. Chair.
There's no question on the delineation
Yes, sir.
of jurisdiction kung walang giyera.
Yes, sir.
Ang bone of contention is once we go to war, there's a provision here that the Philippine Coast Guard will be an attached agency of the Department of National Defense. That's the real issue.
Yes,
no?
sir.
Let's not confuse the day-to-day operation.
Yes,
That's
sir.
different. Sabi mo nga, you're in charge of the ports, ano? Yung shipping. Wala naman pakialam talaga rin yung armed forces doon. But we're talking here of wartime.
Yes, sir. During wartime po yun, sir. During wartime, the control of supply lines will be normally tasked to the Coast Guard, Mr. Chair. Even in the present wars, when the Coast Guards are used, actually they are normally focused on the control of sea lines of communications, the trade routes, the supply lines that sustain the wars. So mayroon naman pong delineation even during the actual conduct of war. And the source of direction for that is something to be resolved, I admit, Mr. Chair. But once the unilateral defense plan of the country is, wala pa po kasi tayo, Mr. Chair, in place talaga eh. So, pag ma-in place na po yun, siguro may-resolve po siya doon. But as a bureau, just like the PNP, Your Honor, which will also be working with the armed forces pagka may gera po, siguro naman the issue of who will direct, given naman po yun because they will be the lead agency when there is war. So the armed forces will naturally be taking command of all of us, Mr. Chair.
Yes, understand. But, rank matters. No? Pagdating sa yung chain of command, unity of command, rank always matters.
Yes, sir.
No? Hindi pwedeng i-assume natin na hindi. Susunod naman niya kasi attached agency. No.
Yung principle of primus inter pares, Mr. Chair, wouldn't it
Kaya
apply,
nga.
Mr. Chair?
Anyway, yeah, any comment?
Yes, sir. We will likewise thought of the proposal of the chairman last meeting, where defragging is in time of war. So,
I think that's a good solution.
yes, sir.
Kasi in time of war, i-defrock na muna natin yung commandant ng PCG, bigyan na muna natin ng 3-star rank. I remember not too long ago, si General De Los Santos, he was a 2-star general, pero he was promoted temporarily to 3 stars kasi he had to deal with his counterparts sa United Nations. But when he came back, he went back to his, authorized naman yan eh.
Sir, Jaime Santos.
Yeah, Jaime De Los Santos.
I also underwent the same status, sir, but in schooling
Yeah.
in the US War College. There were one rank lower for purposes of schooling
Yeah.
only. Thank you, sir.
I think that's a good added provision na in time of war, pagka na-attach na sa DND, i-defrock na muna natin yung Philippine Coast just to settle the issue of seniority, diba? And the chain of command. And any other? How about yung section 46 ng 2322? Sinabi ng DBM, hindi na ito necessary. Teka, what's in section 46? Tingnan natin. Ito sa measure. Section 46 mandates the creation of emergency medical assistance. Sabi niya, meron ng batas na nag-establish ng Philippine Coast Guard Hospital and it's operational. Not yet,
For construction po yun, sir.
pero funded.
Wala pa po, sir.
Nasa batas, pero hindi na cover sa GAA? Walang funding? Or Nag-start na yung construction.
Building.
There's a initial allocation, sir, of I think 78 million, but
When was this?
before the pandemic, but
So 2019.
yes, sir, what
Meron
was
na.
suspended for
Suspended because of the pandemic.
yes, sir.
But there's initial funding already.
Yes,
There's
sir.
allocation.
Yes, sir. But what we are justifying here, sir, is the medical assistance for all personnel, not only those confined in the hospital, but likewise those who are in the area. Because the Coast Guard, just like the PNP and AFP, we cannot go to a hospital when we encounter some sickness. So we respectfully request the recommendation,
Yung 30% discount.
30% discount, even if we are in the area.
Are you referring to public hospitals or even private hospitals?
If we are considering public hospitals only,
Only.
sir. At
Kasi we cannot impose on the private hospital
yes, sir.
siguro, no?
Yes, sir.
Ito pala, Philippine Coast Guard General Hospital Act 2019. 75 million. Kompleto na ito, pati site, lahat, kompleto na.
The first the initial, sir, is the movement of the earth moving pala. Preparation, including the
So may
foundation.
site na.
Yes, sir.
Property ng Coast Guard yung
Yes,
site.
sir. Tagig Coast Guard base.
Okay. So yun ang update, earth moving
Yes, sir.
na hinto. Yung Section 25, no? Military Justice System for all uniformed personnel. Right now, you're still adopting the military justice system of the AFP?
You're correct, sir. We feel that the position of the military justice system be likewise be continued as we are now doing, because the interoperability of the AFP and the Coast Guard cannot be avoided. And there were many cases occurs where a Coast Guard will be attached to a AFP unit or like vice versa. And the tendency of having disciplinary problems later on will be either with the Coast Guard or the Navy. So we feel that there is a need for a
Yeah.
uniform military justice system.
But when you say military justice system, you'll be covered by the Articles of War?
Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, I was the first president of the Coast Guard court martial then. And we have imposed those. And number two, sir, is if we have a Coast Guard that is attached to an AFP unit, and we require him to report to the AFP unit, after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he might go out. We cannot impose discipline kasi maghahanap na ng overtime pay, sir, yun. Or we cannot impose alert system because he will be reasoning out of a civil service regulation. And plus the state of discipline, which is almost similar or the same with the AFP. Thank you, sir.
I may have a problem with that. When I'm asked in plenary to make Coast Guard make up your mind, ano ba gusto niyo? Maging military o maging civilian? Kasi while you now insist that you are a civilian entity, di ba, under the OTR, pero gusto niyo pa rin under the, you'll be guided by the military justice system. Once and for all, ako na magtatanong sa inyo. You have to make up your mind whether you want to be a civilian entity or a military establishment. Definitely, you're no longer a military establishment. So you should have your own justice system. Just like the PNP. Mukhang wala na silang ina-apply. Iba na. Wala nang restricted to quarters yung PNP, being a civilian organization. Unlike in the AFP, di ba? You can be restricted to quarters or restricted to camp without violating yung civil rights. But because the PNP as well as the Philippine Coast Guard and the others are already civilian institutions, belong to civilian institutions, parang hindi na dapat mag-apply yung military justice system.
Sir.
These are, yes.
Sir, sorry, sir. The pattern of our separation from the U.S. Coast Guard model, sir. In the U.S., we have 5 armed forces members, and the Coast Guard is the only armed force in the U.S. that is under a civilian agency, Homeland Security, and but in time of war, still reimbursed as a uniform service. So the same, sir. If we feel
You
that
prefer to be hybrid because merong provision that you will be attached to the DND. So you'll be bound by the military justice system, at least during wartime.
sir, that's the fragging comes in.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So yung pinggagalingan pala nito. Ano pa? Let's iron this out para pagdating sa floor, ma-resolve na natin. Ayoko nang lingon sa inyo pag tinatanong ako, kaya tanungin ko na kayo rito.
Your Honor, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, yung sa hospital po, sir, baka in the plenary they will ask because we already have a hospital, why do we still need the support? Just to reinforce, Mr. Chair, that even if we have a hospital, it's only one and we are distributed everywhere. As a former, kami po, sir, we've been station commanders and it's really very hard to support our people there because hospitals sometimes are not available, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, if I may even make a manifestation or request, Mr. Chair, if the support can be upgraded to allow the Coast Guard to avail of health, the medical health system, the one that we can contract out from outside, the health card, which is more convenient for our people who are assigned elsewhere.
You know,
Just,
we passed the
idea, Mr. Chair.
Universal Healthcare Act,
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, yung implementation leaves much to be desired because we are supposed to, dapat nasa, at this time, when we say full implementation, yun yung high cost. Pero budget-wise, hindi binibigyan ng proper budget. So hindi maka-adjust, we're still at the status quo level or category, meaning low cost. Pag sinabi nating full implementation or high cost, parang 1 hospital bed per 800 population. So every barangay will be covered, of course, also with the assistance of PhilHealth, dahil contributing members naman tayo lahat. So I think that will take care of the concern expressed earlier na kasi magka-problema tayo ng yung parang may special treatment. Anong tawag yan, Louie? Equal protection. Yeah, equal protection clause sa mga bills. Baka ma-strike out pa tayo ng Supreme Court for being unconstitutional. Yung mga benefits. Ito nakalagay dito, Section 40. Sections 36, 37, 38, 39. Survivor benefits, permanent physical disability benefit and pension. Old age pension. Section 40 exempts from attachment and taxes all retirement benefits to be granted, including benefits reserved. Ito medyo ng konti ito. Pag-aralan natin mabuti ito. Now, yung creation of a mutual benefit association, kasi yung right now, wala kayong ganyan, di ba? You don't even have a parang yung PSS Life, Public Safety Savings and Loan. Meron na kayo yan.
We have
Coast
a
Guard.
PCG slide po, sir.
Meron.
Yes.
PCG SLY. Ang tanong dito, kasi sabi nyo, membership is voluntary to provide life and non-life insurance services, including dependents, Sabi nyo, voluntary. How can you sustain this kung voluntary? with only, sabihin natin na maximize 75,000 personnel, how can you sustain, lalo na kung voluntary? Baka hindi kayo maka-put up ng seed money or to answer to the needs of your members, including dependents. Seed money lang nito, malaki sigurado. Saan to kukunin? Of course, yung coming from contributions, ito yung pang-sustain, if at all, kung kakayanin pa rin. So again, take a second look at this provision, your proposal. Yung 30%, tama yung sa DBM, kasi may sa 292 Administrative Code. Kailan talaga lahat magpupunta sa General Fund. I remember when I was Chief PNP, I requested President Estrada at that time, yung mga service fees ng PNP, hindi na namin turnover. Directly we can use, but only for camp development like infrastructure. And we're able to put up yung mga quarters ng mga barracks ng namin, yung mga yung mga women auxiliary. Not yung police women actually, para may separate barracks. So I don't need this needs legislation. I don't think. Maybe a presidential or executive fiat will do, but it will not be institutionalized. Kasi after President Erap stepped down, nabalik na uli na pinapadala sa Treasury. And the PNP would have to request for the utilization of such fund. So you can do that din naman, di ba? Pinapagamit din, sabi niyo, very minimal 2 million?
22 million,
22 million a
collection.
year.
Yes.
MEA. Malaking tulong din. Any other concerns you want to take up?
Yeah. I'd just like
Sige.
to reiterate, sir, our request or appeal to, this is regarding the retirement benefits of the enlisted personnel, sir. Because DBM has said earlier that retained na yung provision ng RA 993 na one rank higher for the chief PT officer. But I would like to request that this should not be the case because it's not fair. And as provided by RA 8220, sir, chief PT officer, senior chief PT officers, and master chief PT officers, when they retire, they receive a pay of equivalent to the ensign. And also, and the first master chief PT officer receives a pay of lieutenant junior grade. At the same time, he has retired the rank of ensign based on RA 9365, sir. So, actually, sir, this was already given to them before. But somehow in 2017, DBM followed the RA 93 and reduced their pay. Kaya natanggalan sila ng mga more or less mga between 7,000 to 10,000 per retiree, enlisted personnel. So we would just like to request sana, sir, na ibalik dapat sa kanila kasi yung counterpart nila sa AEP and PEP are receiving this kind of retirement benefits. And in the Coast Guard alone, meron din kaming dalawang categories kasi yung na-retire before 993 receives a pay of an ensign. And then yung mga after that, wala na. They receive the pay one rank higher. So yan lang aming sanang sir, na this should be included in the amendment.
And during your call, there are only about 1,500 retirees sa Coast Guard.
Sir, we have computers, sir, kasi
How much?
na-reduce ngayon, sir, noong 2017. But if we give them back, abot na ng 278 million, sir. Based on the computation, I think.
Just
Yes, sir. Adjustment na yun, sir. 278 million ang requirement to give back to yung mga.
yun yung differential.
Parang ganun,
But yung
sir.
total to cater to the retirement needs of
The
the
enlisted
1,500, magkano yung differential naman doon?
I'm not very
Ito
sure.
kasi back pay ito di ba? Parang back yung yearly requirement, how much it will entail.
Actually, sir, I don't have the figure now, sir, but like sa aming pension
These are material to, mga material information
Okay.
that you should provide.
Malit na,
Definitely, yan ang tatanungin.
kasi malit na naman ang Coast Guard, sir, so maybe not like the AFP. In fact, our pension differential for 2018, sir, the AAP and PNP, they get their pension per month eh. My month, sir. Tapos kami sa Coast Guard, sir, because malit lang kami, binigay na sa amin lahat ng DBM, yung aming remaining 9 months. But the AAP, PNP, they still have 7 months to be given to them. Kasi malaki yung ano eh. Our requirement for 1 month differential in 2018 was about 250 million yata, sir. Compared to the AAP na 1 month lang, 1.2 billion na. And the PNP, 1.2 billion.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
For this year, Mr. Chair, about 70 million is the requirement for the retirees. Yes, sir. And we only have a little number of retirees every year for the next 5 years, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned before, our 60% of our personnel are not more than 5 years in the service.
So, you have a young leadership sa Coast Guard. Now, yung Section 7, 18, ang gusto nyo, Presidente yung mag-a-appoint sa ensign? Yung Philippine Coast Guard ensign? You want to change the... Why? Because right now, upon the recommendation of the Commandant, di ba, the OTR Secretary nag-a-appoint. Why do you want to raise it to the level of the President? Just the appointment of the ensign of the ensign in the Philippine Coast Guard. Yeah, I know. Sa AFP, sa PNP, ang appointment, hindi naman sa Presidente. Yung ano lang, Colonel up. So, in your case, ano lang yan, Captain up lang dapat. Bakit gusto niyo yung pati ensign, i-appoint pa ng Presidente? Mas mabilis pa, samantala, the OTR Secretary nga yung under the present, present
Para
provision, under
consistent lang
Section
sa
12.
AAP, sir. Para consistent sa AAP.
Mr. Chair, to be
Sige.
consistent with our attachment to the DND in times of war, that all Coast Guard personnel have been presidential.
So, doon ang hugot nun.
Yes. Consistency, Mr. Chair.
Itong PCG Academy, saka na natin isipin to siguro muna, Si problema talaga lagi budget, especially now. Na-discuss na ito last time, yung lateral entry, active members of the other uniform services. Yung sa 99 entry, allowed ba yung lateral? Allowed, di ba? And wala doon. Pero you're practicing it eh. So, baka ma-question yung mga nag-transfer sa inyo, yung lateral entrance. Kung walang basis in law. So that's why you're asking it to be included in this bill para ma-legitimize yung lateral entry.
There was a department order for our lateral entry.
Yeah, pero a department order, kung walang basis
Secretary.
in law,
Yes.
medyo tagilid din yun. So okay,
Sir.
we can...
Actually, sir, the word lateral, what is going on present is not lateral. It's a resign adoption. So the word lateral at present is not official.
Even in the PNP, hindi naman talaga literal yung meaning ng lateral. Pag sinabi lateral, a master sergeant can be an officer. Ang tawag pa rin doon, lateral entry pa rin. Or a lawyer, for example, can just enter the service as a captain. Lateral pa rin na tawag doon. So you want to justify what you're doing now na walang basis in law. Entry sa inyo since nung in-impose nyo ito, in-enforce.
Sir, if I may, sir. Sir, if I may, sir, Admiral Ramos, sir. Sir, it's
Admiral.
around 100 pa lang po, sir. Since we have effected it, sir.
Another question. Bakit gusto niya na meron pang presidential advisor ng Coast Guard? Eh meron namang commandant na. Nawala na nga yata yung Opama, di ba? Pero hindi na Opama ang tawag, may Opapa pa. Yung sa police. I don't think hindi naman sila nakukonsult. Purely administrative yan eh. Parang added layer. Gusto niyo ba may added layer pa na pagka may promotion kayo, dadaan pa sa, ano naman tawag dito? OPAC. OPAC. Gusto niyo ba may layer pang ganon?
Probably, sir, to expedite our papers.
That will delay. I know that for a fact. Nakaka-delay sa promotion eh. Nagtatagal. Minsan nabababa doon sa Opama when I was still with the Philippine Constabulary. Dadaan pa ng Opama. Siyempre naghihintay pa yun ng iba para isang puntahan na lang kay Presidente. Pan-delay yun, hindi pang expedite. Alisin na lang natin yan. Sige. Yan, na-discuss natin. Yung sa bill ni Senator Gordon, yung sa auxiliary, ang preference ninyo, ma-recognize as a uniform volunteer organization rather than a mere civilian volunteer organization. May we hear from the auxiliary group, Commodore Ferrer or Attorney Masangkay, no?
Yes. Good
And
morning,
also
Your
from the
Honor.
Philippine Coast Guard.
Okay.
Sige, go ahead.
Yes. Commodore De La Peña, are you here?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, may I, Auxiliary Vice Admiral Manuel Iquibal, sir, to be recognized?
Go ahead. Go ahead, sir. You're recognized.
Good morning to you, Honorable Senator Pampilo Lacson, sir, Chairman of the Committee on Public Services and Subcommittee for the proposed revised Philippine Coast Guard Law. Sir, we just want to reiterate that PCGA right now comprises around 20,000 strong and dedicated volunteers. Its manpower is still increasing through the reactivation of the recruitment of the PCGA Coastal Community Auxiliaries in its 15 auxiliary districts nationwide. This in preparation to the effects of the global warming and other exigencies. We wish to restate to this August chamber our members' pledges to dedicate our treaties, time, talent, and treasures, and share our God-given blessings to our fellow Filipinos. To reiterate, we have submitted our position papers summarized into item number 1, Senate Bill 2322, wherein we recommend the revision of Section 17 to reflect the present structure of the PCGA organization and its current and future issues. Inclusion to this is a provision detailing the powers and authority of the PCGA and its administration that can be prescribed by a concurrent and related enabling legislation, such as Senate Bill 2265, which directly refers to the PCGA, and the implementing rules and regulation of Senate Bill 2322 once it passes into law, and such other issuances that may be issued by the Department of Transportation. Further to this, in our submitted position paper, item number 2, pertaining to Senate Bill 2265, we highlighted the need to harmonize Section 17 of Senate Bill 2322 and Section 2 of Senate Bill 2265 and other provisions or proposed revisions to the provisions of Article 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of Senate Bill number 2265. With that, may I ask our advisor, Attorney Marvin Makasangkay, to further elaborate on this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, attorney.
Yes, good morning, Your Honors. With regard to the proposed revision to the section, Senate Bill number 2265, Your Honor, with regard to the uniform service, Your Honor, we just want to reiterate that based on the history of the PCGA, Your Honor, we are not only a civilian volunteer organization, but has been since its inception, Your Honor, a uniformed volunteer organization. That's why we want to to maintain that, Your Honor, we are a uniform service attached to the Philippine Coast Guard, as actually recognized, Your Honor, in Senate Bill number 2265. Although, Your Honor, in Section 17 of Senate Bill number 2322, such proviso was not included, Your Honor. So there's just a need to harmonize, Your Honor, between Section 2 of Senate Bill number 2265 and Section 17 of Senate Bill number 2322 with regard to the description or characterization of the PCGA as a uniform service, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, attorney. Sa Philippine Coast Guard, are you contemplating, when you say uniform volunteer organization rather than a civilian volunteer organization, are you contemplating on vesting them with the police powers? Hindi.
Their powers are actually defined on the 9993 proposal. That they are a volunteer organization.
Hindi, pero under this proposed measure,
We support that they will be institutionalized
yeah.
as a volunteer, civilian volunteer organization.
Kasi remember yung CAFGO, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Yung sa Republic Act 7077, yung tinatawag na Citizen Armed Forces or Armed Forces of the Philippines Reservist Act. Diba?
Yes, sir.
So ito, hindi naman ito mga reservist.
Hindi
Basta
po, sir.
volunteer, uniform volunteer organization. So they may be granted as any qualified Filipino, may be granted license to permit to carry firearms, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Licensed
Yes, sir.
firearms. Hanggang doon lang yon. But they will not be vested with police powers.
To possess
Wala.
firearms
Okay.
and perform
We just
law
need that to be-
enforcement.
We just need to clarify that.
What we have in our revision po, sir, yung creation of the Coast Guard Reservist. Yeah. Which is similar to the AFP Reservist. Yes, sir.
How many members yung Coast Guard Reservist ninyo? Marami. Wala pa?
Wala pa po. That's why we propose
You want to create
to
that under
create,
2322?
yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, sir.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Sir, please allow me to clarify also, Mr. Chair, that the proposal of the Coast Guard to develop a reservist force, a reserve force, is a separate organization from the auxiliary, because this has caused some anxiety among our auxiliaries na baka maapektuhan yung organization nila. It is a different group po, Mr. Chair. And it does not also prevent the auxiliary from joining the reserve force if they want to. That's in our mind, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Marami bang nag-a-apply na maging reservist? Kaya inisip nyong i-include to? Marami rin?
Actually, we need, sir, we need for the reservists. with the problems we have right now, the West Philippine Sea.
Sir.
So it's more on the need of the PCG
Yes, sir.
to have a reservist
Yes.
force. Yes,
sir.
go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. One of the reasons also of recommending a creation of a reservist is in projection of the retirees, especially those retiring young, optional, to assist the command during calamities, disasters, or emergency situations pronounced by the president, uh, time of war and other regional conflicts. And it also complements with the program of the AFP to retake back the Naval ROTC program and assist also in other community projects. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ano ba bang other features nito that you wish to discuss in this hearing? Parang na-cover na natin halos lahat, ano? Legal assistance. Section 28. This is lang. Okay lang ito. Provide legal assistance to any member charged with an offense or crime resulting from the performance ng official duty. This is quite standard. How many lawyers do you have, Philippine Coast Guard?
Around 25 po, sir,
25.
right now.
Are there instances na merong na-charge criminally yung
Yes, sir.
service-connected?
Yes, sir.
And how are you coping with providing legal assistance?
Actually, sir, we cannot. No legal assistance right now.
Even with the 25 lawyers? Kasi service-connected eh. Say harassment charges resulting from yung performance ng official duties.
Accordingly, sir, if it is a criminal case, it is not allowed by law. to
No,
use
it is
for-
allowed. It is allowed. Basta hindi kalaban ng government na kalaban, no?
Yes, sir.
Pwede. Pero walang provision sa budget for legal assistance. Makukuha sa MOE siguro.
Yes, sir.
Kasi ito, Section 28 eh. Authorized lawyers of the respective agencies to provide legal assistance. That's from the DOJ. Eh kung criminal case, paano mag-a-assist yung DOJ? Silang prosecutor. Pau siguro. Ay, Pau, hindi naman pwede. Pang indigence lang yun. DOJ, pwede man tulungan nyo kami rito? I cannot reconcile. Who's representing DOJ?
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, good
This
morning.
is,
Good morning.
State Counsel Alden Luna po for DOJ. Regarding po dun sa legal assistance, as you mentioned naman po, this is a standard provision in similar kind of laws. But insofar as representation is concerned, if it's a criminal case, Mr. Chair, there will be a conflict of interest because we also the prosecution is also under the Office of the Department of Justice. Maybe, Mr. Chair, the issue can be threshed out in the promulgation of rules and regulations. Maybe it can be lawyers from the Department of Transportation who can assist in cases that are criminal in nature, but are in line with the performance of their duty, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Attorney, State Counsel. Section 52. Ay inulit nyo lang doon sa 9993, no? Provides for an establishment and expansion of Coast Guard bases and facilities. How many ports do we have? Yung nako-cover ninyo? Kasi, there's an issue, smuggling ito, no? I wonder how you can cope up. Pati hijacking, kasi there are instances of hijacking, di ba? Yung mga shipping companies, they're requesting for escorts from Coast Guard. Yeah, sea marshals. But do you have enough personnel and equipment to cater to the needs of the shipping companies who are requesting for escorts? Kasi there are cases na talagang actual, na-hijack talaga yung cargos nila. How many cases have you encountered so far? Baka naman Coast Guard na nang-hijack. Never. Sige, I'm just joking. Are there cases of hijacking? Yeah, sijacking, yeah.
Actually, bumaba na po, sir. There are cases before, but for this year...
On the average, per month, how many sijacking cases
Yes, sir.
have you
General
recorded?
Padama, sir.
Sir, 2 years ago, there were at least once every 2 months hijacking in the form of hijacking in the south. But this has subsided. But during time of intelligence information, the Coast Guard is always stopped to conduct patrols along the way.
Patrols, but on a case-to-case basis, you provide escorts, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Yung noong na-amend yung cabotage law, di ba ngayon, foreign vessels are allowed to parang mag-anchor na sa mga ports. Unlike before, I think this was in 2014, di ba?
Yes, sir. The
Na-lift.
yes, sir. The more
Kasi
than
double handling eh.
yes, sir.
Only Port of Manila lang pwedeng mag-dock yung foreign vessels, and then yung local or yung domestic shipping companies will take over.
Yes, sir. This is
So added cost.
yes, sir. This is a prediction for the cabotage law.
Yeah.
Because security risks are unavoidable if we
Yes, I know. So yung once every 2 months na case or cases ng sijacking, how many involved foreign vessels?
1 or 2, sir, the same coming from the south, Malaysia at saka dito sa
When you say nag-subside na, ilan na lang ngayon? For say 2021.
no report, sir. No report for 2020.
For this year, sir, I think within Manila Bay, actually, we have checked already with the support of the PNP. Nahuli na po, sir, yung mga robbers.
So kaya
involved in robbery.
nag-subside, may
Yes, sir.
nangahuling mga
Opo, sir.
seajackers.
Yes, sir.
And they were charged in court.
Yes, sir. Together with the support from the PNP po.
Yeah, yung maritime group nila.
Maritime group.
PNP, do you have record of seajacking incidents from the maritime group? I can see you from here. Kindly identify yourself.
Because i-verify natin sa likod. Good morning, Mr. Chair, sir, Senator Lacson. We'll check on our record, sir, kasi as of now, we don't have any crime on seajacking, sir. Check mo nga, sir.
Yeah, while you're checking, ito yung may incident involving Indonesian coal carrying vessels, And this triggered yung action taken by the Indonesian government banning the entry of Indonesian coal carrying vessels due to seajacking incidents in Palawan and Sulu. Na-resolve nyo ba ito? Yes.
Actually, sir, as I mentioned last week, sir, that there was a spike of piracy and armed robbery in Sulu, particularly in 2016 and 17. And that was the clamor of the international shipping company on how the Philippine government will address and utilize this problem. So that's why the Coast Guard has proposed for the creation of Cebu base in Tawi-Tawi. And it is already being developed there and for full scale na rin, sir. Ang provisions po doon, sir, is to have a wharf and at least two mid-size of Coast Guard ships that could readily respond to a situation. Secondly, we have a radar system also, sir, that we can constantly guard the sea lane, which is in particular Cebu to passage because that is a very critical sea passage for international ships. So 24/7, sir, we have this electronic eye, which mirrors also the National Coast Watch that monitors directly those international vessels passing. And of course, the effort of the AP and the Coast Guard then in 2016-17 somehow utilizes this Abu Sayyaf group. Somehow, there's no more of armed robbery and pirates at sea.
And the Indonesian government has already lifted the ban.
Yes, sir.
Wala na. When was this?
I'd
What
like
year?
to check the record, sir.
More or less, what year? Kasi sabi mo, nag-spike to 2016, 2017.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But since yung Abu Sayyaf naman has been effectively neutralized na rin, so nag-subside na rin yung, or zero case na.
Practically 2019, nag-zero na tayo.
Zero na.
Yes.
Thank you. Good to hear that.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, on the question of the number of ports that the Coast Guard man, the Coast Guard right now has 87 stations all over the country, and under these stations are 413 substations. So if we add that, Mr. Chair, we have about 500 ports wherein co-located with the Coast Guard station and substation.
But these are stationary, di ba? Yung patrols.
That's
you're
separate
asking
po,
pala.
sir. Yung foot patrol is separate po, sir.
Yeah.
And the mobile checkpoints.
Yeah.
But these are all in place, co-located in port facilities.
Yung sa West Philippine Sea, you're requesting for an executive session for obvious reasons, ano?
Yes, sir.
Instead of holding an executive session, padala nyo na lang sa amin.
Yes, sir.
Lagyan nyo lang ng classification.
We will do that,
Yung
Mr. Chair.
document. So we can have a more or less an idea how you are helping in the security of the sea lanes along the West Philippine Sea.
Opo, sir.
Yung complementary action taken by Coast Guard
Yes, sir.
para sa Philippine Navy,
Yes,
sa Armed
Mr. Chair.
Forces. What else?
Mr. Chair, another information is that there are about 821 commercial ports all over the country and 429 fishing ports. And as I have said, we want to establish more substations to cover some ports that are not
So
manned.
that would justify your request for additional
Yes,
personnel.
sir.
ano?
Definitely, sir.
Yeah, okay. These are very good input. Okay, so I think pwede sigurong i-TWG ito para i-refine na lang natin. So my staff will coordinate with you, yung staff ng ano. So we have pretty much covered practically yung mga features. Yung sa auxiliary naman, wala masyadong controversy doon. So I think we can pass that. Ito lang yung sa modernization, reorganization. Especially yung provisions that entail budgetary requirements. Yan yung medyo pag-aralan natin mabuti. But yung recruitment, kung 4,000 a year, hindi naman ganun kalaki yung requirement. Auxiliary, okay din. Special
Mr. Chair,
account.
sir.
Go ahead, go ahead.
If I may just, sir, to add on our justification. for beefing up our manning requirement. In 2017, there was a task to the Coast Guard by the Speaker of the House, Congressman Pantaleon Alvarez, wherein he proposed that the Coast Guard should be in charge of providing safety and security to beach resorts with the highest tourism value in the country. And with that, we have a convergence program, initial talks with the Department of Tourism then. And there was already an implementation of the program, started in Siargao. In fact, there was already an existing building and a company size of Coast Guard providing security, safety and security in the area. So we hope, sir, that we're going to sustain this program and adapt it to other beach resorts with high tourism value to protect our tourism industry. Thank you, sir.
So you have an existing MOA with the Department of Tourism.
There was an initial talk done, sir, but I
Wala pang
believe
MOA? Wala pa.
no MOA yet, sir. But there was already an initial discussion way back in 2017.
I think it's better that you formalize it with the MOA.
Yes, sir.
So, para ma-justify natin yung additional personnel request ng Coast Guard. Okay, what else?
If I may, sir.
Yes.
Just addition, sir. On the question of the good senator, sir, on the Sea Marshal, our Sea Marshal now is only focused in Manila, but once we get additional personnel, we intend to replicate it nationwide. And by then, we can already provide better support to shipping. Thank you, sir.
Gusto niyo mag-participate? O yes sir lang kayo? Yes sir. Dito na kayo parang cheering squad. Okay, good luck. So mag-TWG and then see you in the plenary para i-assist ako. No? Hindi ko nakita anino ni Admiral Laroya, ni Mr. Laroya. Kumain muna kayo. Meron yatang Hindi na, nag-report sa akin. Mahawa pa ako doon. Never mind. Sige, go ahead. So we will adjourn this hearing and we'll proceed. Yeah, technically.